Hi everyone. Can you imagine what it would be like to play hide and seek in a castle as a child? Or how about ghost hunting in old buildings and ruins where knights used to fight and do battle? This is what it was like growing up for me. My name is Dan. Today I'll be taking a few minutes of your time to talk about my background and some of the things that have happened to me in my life that brought me to be here today. The first question that people normally ask me is, where are you from? Or is that accent Australian? So I think I want to start with talking about where I was born. I was born in a small suburb of Birmingham, which is in the centre of England, and it's also the UK's second largest city. My parents were also from Birmingham, and their parents, were raised there, and so were their siblings. After I was born, my family moved to a town called Tamworth. My parents split when I was in Tamworth, so I actually ended up having a brother, a sister, two stepbrothers, a stepsister, and a half-brother. We didn't all live in the same house. My parents were split up and had separate homes, so at least I got to have my own bedroom, which was kind of nice, and it was still kind of cool for my parents to still be in the same town, so I got to visit with them pretty regular. The town of Tamworth itself has been around for about 1500 years. In the middle of town, there's a castle, which serves as a museum also. A lot of the castle is open to the public. When I was a child, the courtyard was open, you could play on the mound, all the walkways around the castle were open, so we spent a lot of time there. In the winter time, we would even sled around the pathway that went around the bottom of the hill that surrounded the castle. After I kind of grew out of that phase, I was very interested in sports and being athletic. I enjoyed playing a lot of rugby and soccer. Especially on the weekends, I'd play soccer with my dad and all my friends, and we almost spent every weekend playing soccer non-stop. When the weather was bad, my dad started to teach us how to play chess. So I have a rudimentary knowledge of that, although I haven't played it in quite some time. After that, after going through school at 16, I did my exams and I got the qualifications that allowed me to become an apprentice engineer. Although I had to stop doing that after about a year and a half because it was kind of difficult. You know, the apprenticeship meant that I had to do full-time college work as well as doing the engineering work full-time, which was just too much for me at 16. So I ended up having some conversations with my mom and the managing director, and I decided it was a good thing for me to part companies. So that left me a bit disoriented with my life plan, so I spent a bit of time kind of floating between trying to go back to school or getting part-time jobs. Eventually I ended up finding a job at HSBC Bank. This was fantastic for me, really, because it opened up all kinds of opportunities and new job opportunities in that industry. My job there was I financed loans for the bank's business customers, and within 2 years, with a year and a half of doing that job, I got promoted twice. There are also perks to that job. Working for the bank afforded me the ability to get credit a lot more easily. The bank, like I said, for the bank business customers, had its own internal credit approval rating, which meant that when I joined the bank, I was automatically given the highest rating that they had. So I was able to get a mortgage at the age of 20, which was fantastic. And this kind of allowed me to reassess my life goals. And I decided at that point that I wanted to become a property tycoon. All I could imagine myself doing was buying loads of properties and renting them all out. So this first property I could buy when I was 20 was a great opportunity for me. In renting the property, my first house, I actually lived in it, and I rented the rooms out that I wasn't occupying at the time. So I actually had two lodgers in my house, and this is actually the pathway for how I met my wife. One of my lodger's sons knew Shannon's sister. He'd met her, and as such, when he came back from meeting her, introduced me to my wife. So we spent about a year and a half talking on the phone and online and writing letters to each other. until we got to a point where we couldn't stand it any longer. So I eventually, about like I say, a year and a half later, I booked tickets to go and see her, and we decided we want to get married. So that is what brought me to America. Within 6 months of me meeting Shannon, I only spent a week with her, we got married, and we've been together now for 9 years. It'll be 10 years next August. We currently have 2 children. Connor is 8 years old and Piper is 3 years old. I work for Walmart. I think I mentioned that in my introductory post. The reason that I'm here with you today is that I'm looking to progress within my company and move to the next level, and to do so I am pursuing my degree to get there. So that's really about it. So really this is pretty much a story of an Englishman that went over the sea to the land of the free to see what would happen. And here I am. Thank you for listening.